So the first thing that you do here is just go and do a quick Google search, Nevermore Guild Wars 2. You can go right to the Nevermore Guild Wars 2 wiki. And this is going to basically give you the 4 main components: Raven Staff, Mystic Tribute, Gift of Nevermore, and Gift of Maguma Mastery. The Raven Staff, when you jump in, you can see that this is a staff that you make, 4 other components that make it up. You need to have an artificer with the 500 required rating. You're going to need that for a lot of stuff in making the staff. But each one of these materials, they may not be familiar, but those are from the legendary achievement tree. So let me jump into the game here and I'll show you what I mean, because this is where you start. You know, Grandmaster Hobbs over here in Lion's Arch. You go up to him, you buy a Nevermore 1 book, but that is only after, mind you, that you're able to train the masteries and legendary crafting. So you do need to train your legendary crafting up, and then you can come back over, you know, down here in your collections, your legendary weapons, Nevermore 1, which basically consists of going around Tyria and doing different feats, usually boss battles, world boss battles, and getting trophies for them. Then you go back and then you're gonna buy, you know, with more gold and karma, Nevermore 2, and you're gonna start on that. This one is essentially just going and getting a lot of wood, a lot of wood, farming wood. I have a little route that I did, which I'll go over next, that kind of helped me out with a lot of this, just a daily routine. Some fractals that you have to go through, a couple other things, various things, but mainly Nevermore 2 was all about getting wood. And I will just show you one thing that might help if you do this on a daily basis. You go over here to Malachor Sleep, and you go to Pagus Waypoint. Right over about here from Pagus Waypoint, you will find a node with a bunch of Elderwood there. If you have any alts and you can put a few of them in that area, then you can just every 2 hours kind of cycle between those and get Elderwood. And when I say that you're going to be needing a lot of wood, I mean you're going to be needing a lot of wood. There is actually another guide out there with just, you know, just the material list, and I think it's, if you were to buy the materials, this is not including buying like the books or the recipes, but it's like 2,000 and something gold, 2,200 and something gold, I think, if you were to buy everything from the auction house, which is no small joke. Nevermore 3, which is all about feeding this little baby raven that you have by going all around Tyria once again, jumping puzzles and the end of fractals and just a bunch of other stuff that you have to go and you find these ravens. So this is another one that takes you all over the place. And then Nevermore 4, which is the last volume. Once you get here, you know, you get the gift of the Raven Spirit, and you also will have your Raven Staff at that point too. This is the two of the components that you definitely need to ranking legendary. So you have to go through this, and Nevermore 4 is like a combination of all of the below. So it's more materials, it's, you know, more battles, it's more fractals. It's just a little bit of everything. So be prepared. You know, if you want, there's plenty of other guides that give you the more details to look into. But to keep this video short, I'm not going to go into every single detail of this. So now we go back to our wiki. We understand what it's going to take in order to get the Raven Staff. Next is the Mystic Tribute, which is the one that I'm still working on now. This takes 2 gifts of Condensed Magic, 2 gifts of Condensed Might, Mystic Clovers, and Mystic Coins. You know, if you've been playing the game for a while, Mystic Clovers aren't too hard to come by anymore. You can get some from vendors and fractals. You get them, you know, through just logging in every day. Mystic Coins, kind of the same way you're going to get these through quests and different stuff that you're doing. You can buy Mystic Coins in the trading post. Mystic Clovers you can't buy, but you know, I have about double that amount right now. I didn't really focus too much on getting them. Each one of these gifts of condensed magic or might involves, you know, gifts of blood, venom, totems. What that is you know, a certain amount of materials in each one of these. So you're gonna need, you know, 2 gifts of blood. Once again, you know, artificer, you need to create these things. But you know, once you get all these components, you know, make 2 do condensed mights, 2 condensed magics, you know, all the claws. That's a pretty big material list. They on one of the sites that I was looking at, they say that if you were to buy the materials for the Mystic Tribute, it's like 900 something gold. So that's one of the bigger gold eating, you know, material eating ingredients to the Nevermore staff. Gift of Nevermore, which is Gifts of the Mists. This is basically world versus world and PvP, you know, based achievements. You know, so you know, the Gifted Glory is just something that you can buy from Niani for 200 Charge of Glory, not too hard to get. Gift of Battle, this was one with, it was a reward track that you get when you go through World vs. World. It wasn't too hard to get. It takes about 18 levels, I guess, to get enough achievement points in order to get that reward track going. Then the Gift of War. This is another one that you can buy just with Memories of Battle. Not too bad. At the end of the day, if you needed to buy, you know, the materials from the trading post for the Gift of War and the Gift of Glory, you could. The Cube of Stabilized Dark Energy. I mean, this is 75 stabilizing matrices. If you run enough fractals, you actually will end up having that many, which I think that's a good way to make gold. You're going to need to run fractals for a lot of the other stuff that you have to do during the precursor stuff. Just don't sell the stabilizing matrices, because you're going to need 75 of these and a ball of dark energy, which is, it's nothing more than just using an ascended salvage tool to break down an ascended weapon. So if you ever get an ascended weapon or a piece of armor, it doesn't work on the rings or the amulets, but a piece of armor or a weapon that you don't think you're going to use, hold on to it until you're ready to salvage it. Get a salvage kit and salvage that thing, and you can get that material that you need. 100 icy runestones, pretty easy. This is over where Jormag is. There's a vendor right over there. Earthshake Basin. You can buy those things for gold a piece, so 100 gold there. Once again, the Gift of the Raven Spirit we got during the time that we were doing the precursor stuff. So you do have to finish all 4 of those books. And then there's the Gift of Energy, which is, you know, 250 of each one of these dusts. So not a big deal there, even. It's a little bit of gold, a little bit of time, but you know, the hard part time-wise really was probably the Raven Staff and then Gift of Maguma Mastery. Which Gift of Maguma Mastery involves the Gift of Maguma. This is going through and doing map completion on every one of the maps of Heart of Thorns. A little bit time consuming. The Gifts of Insights was just a lot of grinding, because each one of these you get by maxing out a mastery tree in each one of these areas. So Gift of Itzel, you have to max out your Itzel mastery tree, so you have to get all the mastery points in all those different areas to buy all these different gifts to combine together to make the Gift of Insights. So Gift of Maguma and Gift of Insights is going to take a while. It's going to be a lot of grinding. Go ahead and get some XP boosters. You're going to need it. Bloodstone Shard, easy. You know, that's another one that you just go and see Miani over here in the Traders Forum. I hope I'm saying her name right. And then Crystalline Ingots. So this can either be expensive or this can be time consuming, one of the two. Once again, you're going to need an Artificer to make this. Crystalline Ore, these you get from Dragon's Stand specifically through Noxious pods. So, you know, during the events there, you know, go and raid these Noxious pods and get yourself some Crystalline Ore. You're going to need 250 of those. Fulgurite you actually have to make using Obsidian Shards, bottle of Airship Oil, pile of Arc Dust, and Leyline Sparks. You're going to get these from the different maps that you're playing on, so just save those up. You're going to need 250 of each of those. And then Globs of Ectoplasm, hopefully if you're salvaging, you know, some rares here and there, you'll end up getting these easier than the others, plus they're not super expensive to buy. The amalgamated gemstones, you do get these every once in a while through chests and some other different things, but because they are contained in all these hero chests. But you can also buy these for a gold, let's see, 1 gold, 58 silver on the trading post, which is what I ended up doing mostly, was just selling stuff, getting the gold, buying these. You need 250 of these too. So a little pricey, and then you can put together, you know, your crystal ingots, and now you have the gift of mastery. All right, guys, and this concludes this video. Just a couple of things to take from this, or I hope you do. You know, get a daily routine. You know, don't try to do this in a week. You know, get a farming routine for wood and for gold. You know, do something in the morning, do something in the evening, however your schedule's set up. Make sure that you find some looking for group type farming things, like over here in Silver Waste where my character's at now. It's nice to be able to just join in and start making, you know, some quick golden loot. Make sure to have magic find stuff, it does help. And then, you know, furthermore, go ahead and look ahead in the materials that you're going to need to get. Go ahead and look through the guide before you get started, because sometimes you'll realize you have to go back to an area, and if you had just kind of looked ahead and said, oh, you know what, I'm going to need, you know, these items from there too, you might have done it all at once. I feel like that's happened to me a few times during this, but I did start and then stop, and then I'm trying to finish up with this legendary stuff where I'd left off before. So look ahead, don't do what I did, you know, get a daily routine and enjoy. And if you have any questions, feel free to send in some questions through the comments, and leave comments anyways. Thanks guys, appreciate it.